After the Vietnam War, my dad was in prison and mistreated in a re-education camp for fighting on the Democratic side. As Vietnam was now under communist rule, my dad did not want his 6 sons and 4 daughters to endure the same fate. So my parents started carefully planning our escape. For 2 years, my mom secretly listened on the radio, gathering information on what areas of Malaysia were accepting refugees. They saved thousands of dollars and had a boat built for us and the families that would come with us. They knew we would have a 50% chance of surviving this dangerous trip. Many of their friends had died at sea during the first wave of refugees out of Vietnam in 1975. Still, my parents took the risk for us, their children. So one night we left. My parents, nearly 50 years old, left their homes, cars, friends, family, and beloved country. My dad burned all of our pictures and legal documents, so our identity would not be discovered. On the week-long journey at sea, our boat was raided by Thai robbers who stripped us down and stole our money. Fortunately, no one was kidnapped and sold into prostitution. Our boat of 66, 26 adults and 40 children safely arrived and was graciously accepted by Malaysia. My dad had heard of America as a land of opportunity, and after 14 months at the refugee camp in Pulau Tenga, we were sponsored by a church in Louisiana. And in 1980, our family landed in the United States. My name is young Gore, and God gave us hope.
You know, my heart feels so full tonight, and I feel so inspired to be in the same room with all of you and to share in the same vision and heart to help those in need all around the world. What an honor and a privilege it is to be among you and have the opportunity to share the hope God has given me throughout my life. In Proverbs 19:17, the Bible says, "Whoever is kind to the poor lends to the Lord, and he will reward them for what they have done." God has rescued me literally and has shown me much kindness through the generosity of many nations and many strangers. Malaysia was so kind in opening up their borders to thousands of Vietnamese refugees like my family and me. In fact, my youngest brother was born in Kuala Lumpur, the capital of Malaysia. The hearts of the strangers in Morgan City, Louisiana decided to be kind to my family and sponsor all 15 of us. Set us up in homes with bed, clothing, food, and jobs. I can't begin to imagine the cost and trust it took to give so freely. The community of refugees in Oxnard, California, which is a farm town where I grew up, was so kind because they were successful in owning their own business and invited my dad to come and work with them in the landscaping and fishing industry. It was here we also had access to free education and health care. My parents had the conviction that since we had been helped so much, that we, as their children, needed to help others. So in elementary school, we went to doctor's appointments, immigration offices to translate for their friends, as well as fill out apartment and job applications. So the language that we learned, we had to in turn use to help others. I'm so grateful for the life and opportunity God has given me, that he would deliver me out of Vietnam and put me in a place to extend the same kindness and hope that was given me. Living a life of service, meeting a need, whether small or big, however I can, has become my own desire. In middle school, I started a recycling program because I thought it was needed. Small or big, in high school, I became a student activist because I grew up in a migrant worker town, and I participated in the cause of Cesar Chavez during the No Compra Uvas campaign, and I didn't even eat grapes for 6 years. It's kind of wild. Never forgetting my roots, I continued to tutor both Vietnamese and Sudanese refugees in poor neighborhoods surrounding my university. I advocated for greater understanding and diversity through protesting and negotiating with the university for a multicultural director in education, and it was granted. God saved me, though, at 19 years old, and I became a disciple, and I began not to just fight for human rights, but I began to fight for the human right to become children of God through his son, Jesus. Amen. I love Jesus so much. God has allowed me to serve in the teen ministry in Los Angeles, campus ministries in Boston and San Diego, never would I have thought or imagined the life I have now in Jesus. It's only through God that I have this opportunity to do the things that I've been able to do. After marrying my husband, he's another extension of God's kindness to me, I moved to Las Vegas, where I pursued my master's in clinical mental health counseling. And in my thesis paper I started to write my thesis paper on best practices for counseling commercially sexually exploited children. I worked with traffic victims, and I became more aware of the cause, starting actually when I was at the University of San Diego, and God put me in contact with these young women. Then we were called back to be in the ministry in San Diego, to be in the full-time ministry again, working with youth and family. I love the youth. I totally am inspired by all of you and the work that you guys are doing. It really does make a difference. I really admire you. I know this generation really experiences God through doing things, through advocacy, and I really honor you guys for the work that you're doing. As parents now, I have a 10-year-old and an 8-year-old, and we encourage them to find their way to extend kindness to others. My son really loves playing bingo with the elderly, so he does that. My daughter really loves babies, so we babysit, we go to orphanages. She loves babies. That's where God is calling her to extend kindness and love. It's been a privilege the last 2 years to serve as one of the women's ministry leader in San Diego, and it's been an incredible privilege to live my life for others in a way that God has consistently and generously given to me. God gives me hope, and I hope through my life others can have that hope as well. Thank you for your time.